Others will remember him for the time he served as the acting athletic director at the University of Kentucky.
He has been the utility infielder in this institution in a lot of ways. He's picked up the water, picked up shouldered responsibility, and helped the university work through lots of challenges and opportunities.
Terry has been there through President Singletary, President Rozelle, through my tenure as president, and now through President Todd's time there. So I think that really speaks well for Terry, and everybody ought to understand how difficult it is to transition from one administration to another and keep doing a great job for the University of Kentucky.
He's always been a very calm leader. He isn't someone who has to insert himself loudly or boldly into the middle of things. And yet he is professional and respected to the extent that when he speaks, people listen.
Still others may remember him for his engagement with the Alumni Association, or most recently as the Vice President for Institutional Relations. But I think transcending all that, since 1977 when he started professionally at the University of Kentucky until now, 32 years later, is his leadership, his involvement, his engagement, his direction of the development program.
I just remember how good he was to work with and work for. It was a pleasure coming to work. You didn't when you put the key in the door each morning and walked in the office, you just felt good about him being the boss and being there and knowing that he would support you.
Terry always has an admonition to us that is burned indelibly in our minds, that no matter what we were doing, it could be big or small, as we left the office, he would always say to us, well, don't embarrass the office. And I don't think we have.
As he retires, he should be, you, Terry, if you're looking at this, should be so proud of how people have regarded you and your career, and the high esteem and dignity that we hold you in is something we all strive for. So you've succeeded in influencing a whole generation of people in development.
The gentleman built the development council, the development fund-raising capabilities, brick by brick, not with a house of straw, but absolutely brick by brick.
We have had so many adventures in development together. It started at the library with the NEH campaign. And before we knew it, we were in a Commonwealth Library campaign for the new building that became the William T. Young Library.
Terry and a lot of people thought that that was a very difficult task, but once Terry found out that that was going to be a goal for the University of Kentucky, he took that on like he took on everything else.
Terry was always there, leading us on, telling us we'd get through this.
When we were getting close to finishing our $600 million campaign, we had a meeting, and he scribbled on a piece of paper the different categories of donors that we still had left, the match money that we might get from the state, and the bottom line was that he felt we could make $1 billion campaign work. And that was a real turning point for this university, I think. I certainly had said that we needed big dreams and had been thinking about that, but it gave a lot of wind to my sails to realize that there were some numbers to back it up. And the person who was responsible for generating those numbers was the one that was telling me that. So that's certainly a historic memory that I'll always have of Terry.
He understands the Commonwealth, he understands his people, and I think this has helped him do a great job.
Terry could remember faces, facts, figures, people. It was just astonishing.
It's a regular occurrence where we get a call or a request and somebody says, well, who is that? We have to go to Terry to find out. But of course, he doesn't give you just who they are. He gives you their family tree, who they were divorced from, and when they went to school. And my friends, that has the added benefit of being the truth.
I mean, the guy's just an incredible wealth of knowledge. When you talk about institutional knowledge, he goes way beyond that. I mean, he knows people deep down, and it has been beneficial to the university. But I never called him that he didn't have some story about the people that were calling me.
That he's comfortable in almost any setting. he can be conversant and know the facts and know the history and background, personal lives of anyone from the titans of industry all the way down to the janitor who's sweeping out the floor.
If you've had a 10-minute conversation with Terry Mobley, he'll know a lot more about you than you'll know about him, because he is a great listener.
Terry always has been concerned with people's problems.
I've attended functions with him around the campus, the town, the state, and the country. He always had the same warm smile and friendly handshake and pat on the back and the hug for everyone, from the youngest to the oldest alum, and from the smallest to the largest donor.
He could speak at all levels, never talk down to anybody. Everybody was on his level.
To him, they were all UK family and valued people.
I really would like to thank Terry for getting so many people to understand the joy of giving. And he's mentioned that, and there's nothing more true than having someone understand what a joy it is to give. And I think Terry has looked upon his relationships with people in that manner.
When Terry became the Vice President for Development in 1977, the year before, the university had received $2.9 million in private gifts from almost 10,000 donors. Today, we received over $68 million in our most recent fiscal year and more than 60,000 donors. And I think that's a lot of impact and value. Terry certainly provided the leadership and the direction in those early formative years for this kind of achievement. And he made it easier for people like myself and others who will follow to even take development to a higher level at the University of Kentucky.
All the many things he's done, he's never cared who gets the credit. As long as the team wins, as long as the university moves forward, he'll play whatever role the university needs him to play and doesn't really care about the credit. That's very rare.
Terry Mobley's one of the most decent human beings I have ever known.